Hello, I'm Carl Baker. Welcome to this Inspire for Academic Earns tutorial on reviewing your actions. So let's sign in. And F11 to extend the screen. In the last tutorial, we talked about setting your actions and the fact that the system would send you an email for each of them to remind you what you needed to carry out. Once you have carried out the actions, then we need to review them. It's something we don't naturally do, is to review and learn from things we try out. Whereas with Inspire, it's a very challenging exercise, but well worth it. This is where the real learning and moving forward can occur. So we have 3 actions. We can review them all in one go, or as I said last time, as you complete each action, you can come to Inspire and just review that one. But you need to review all 3 before you can move on within the Inspire cycle. So I'm going to give you examples and talk through with these 3 actions. Discovering a new barrier, choosing a new habit, recording some success, and even a failed action, something you didn't carry out at all. There are often times, particularly with challenging actions that we give ourselves, that we don't actually carry them out. And rather than just accepting that that didn't work for us, with Inspire, you're going to learn why that happened, and then hopefully find ways to overcome that so that you can change your natural approach. So first of all, I'd like to let's choose research what makes a good CV. Okay. You can see here that we have the barrier, I need to create a good CV, and the action that you carried out, research what makes a good CV. There are 2 sections here, what was successful and what was unsuccessful. Often when we carry out an action, something about it won't be completely successful, or indeed completely unsuccessful, or very rarely. And what the system's trying to do is to get you to think a little bit deeper and challenge yourself to consider both aspects of any action that you take. These have red stars, so therefore you must complete all of them. First of all, let's look at what did you find was successful about this action. Okay, research what makes a good CV. So I now know what is needed to create a good CV. Now, the answer you put in this box will actually be recorded in the report under your success measurements. Success is often seen as the big things, the final achievement, for instance, the achieving of the challenge. And we often forget to acknowledge to ourselves that the small successes that we have. And that can be very motivating. After a while, you forget about those because they are small. But within the report, you start to build up a series of these and see, and it supports the fact that you are actually moving forward. So it's not just about working through Inspire, it's about recognizing the successes that you have as well. So this will appear in our success measurements, in our success list in the report. So when you see it in the future, I now know what is needed to create a good CV. That is quite a great thing to be able to say. It's a bit of learning there. You've done something extremely useful that should give you a better result when you finally overcome the barrier I need to create a good CV. The next question underneath is exactly what did you do to get this success? It's fairly straightforward. You could put in research what makes a good CV, but try and be a little bit more thoughtful about it. I did research on the internet to find what makes a good CV. Now again, the answers have got to be full, so that I'm always going to be including what makes a good CV, for instance. So it's straightforward. What did you do to get this success? And then that's followed on by a question: have you found a new habit? So the two options are: I want this to become a new habit. I do not want this to become a new habit. With Inspire, it's entirely down to you whether you use this option or not. It gives you the opportunity to practice and review something you discovered worked for you while carrying out an action, a new way of acting, being, and what you discover is that it was useful enough for you to say, I want to continue to do that. I want to learn from that. And so, therefore, by ticking, I want this to become a new habit, Inspire will take you through a practice and review cycle until you've embedded that new habit. Now, we're going to say that I did research on the internet to find out what makes a good CV. Well, yes, it's something you would perhaps naturally do anyway. So I don't think that's a new habit. So I do not want this to be a new habit. I will be doing a tutorial later on which will actually discuss more detail about how to go through a new habit cycle of practice and review. So let's come on to this side. So what was unsuccessful about this action? Okay, so my result could have been better. Finding out what makes a good CV. Okay, so this is just straightforward. What wasn't so great about it? Sometimes you can have a fantastic, successful result, but it wasn't perfect. Life's not like that. So there will often be something that could have been better about it. So that would go into the unsuccessful about this action box. Exactly what stopped this action being a success? Well, I did the research on what makes a good CV at the last minute. So, minute. I procrastinated. So once you've identified something that wasn't perfect about this great result, you then are in a better position, as Inspire takes you step by step through the thinking process, you're in a great position to actually then say, well, why didn't that happen? And then come up with that. Now, the other reason that you fill in this particular answer is because of the tick box you have underneath. This is, have you found a new barrier? And the two options are, I have found a new barrier, this is not a new barrier. Now, if you tick, I have found a new barrier, then Inspire will include this in your converted barriers step later on in the cycle. So it will collate and collect any that you tick here into your converted barriers stage. The benefit of this, one of the benefits of this, is that you will discover deeper barriers. So you think that this is the issue, I need to create a good CV, but actually you've discovered that you leave things to the last minute. Now that's a barrier that you may want to say, well, actually that affects me overall achieving my challenge, so therefore I need to work on that as well. The other thing that this does, and it's human nature to often not acknowledge barriers that we have, personal weaknesses, let's put it like that. And so you may not add those naturally as bad barriers into the system. If they are there and they're a natural part of the way you are and you work, then they will come up here, and therefore you're faced with the barrier that you really should deal with. So this allows you to identify deeper barriers. In this particular case, yes, I'm leaving things to the last minute, so yeah, I'm going to say yes, I have found a new barrier, and that will now be included for barrier conversion when I come to that stage. And that's it. What was successful, what was unsuccessful, and found a new barrier. Click the green button. And that action has now been reviewed. We can't move forward within Inspire until we've reviewed both or all of the actions that we've carried out. Okay, let's choose the next action to review. Let's do the holiday one. Okay, the action that we took was plan a holiday that I can go on 6 months after I get a job. We're overcoming the barrier. I need to be excited in finding a job. This was about motivation. So I feel even more motivated to get a job, a holiday plan. Okay, so what did I find successful about this action? I feel even more motivated to get a job, a holiday plan. Now, this, as we said before, will appear in our success list on the report. Exactly what did you do to get this success? I set a personal target of a holiday plan to motivate me. Okay. So exactly what did I do? I set a personal target of a holiday plan to motivate me. Now, what I've discovered here, if we look at the new habits, is that I actually got on and did this and found it worked for me. And when I thought about it, it was actually about setting a target and giving myself a reward. So we're going to actually say, yeah, I want to continue to try and use this as a good personal tool to get me to achieve things. So I want this to become a new habit, and well, I will do a future tutorial on how to work through new habits, the cycle and review to embed the new habits. As I've said before, this is entirely up to you if you want to use new habits or not. What was unsuccessful about this action? Now, it's about being realistic, so I couldn't afford the holiday I really wanted. Exactly what stopped this action being a success? The money I could save is not enough. I could save for the holiday I wanted was not enough. Okay, did I find this as a new barrier? Well, no, it's more practical and straightforward as to what stopped it, so I don't see that as a new barrier. So this is not a new barrier. Click the button. Now, because we have found a new habit, the system's asking us to quickly set up the habit that we want to practice and review and embed. Now, this is the description of what you put into the system, into Inspire, that made you want it to be a new habit. I set a personal target of a holiday plan to motivate me. Now, what you're going to do is rewrite the habit description above into a more suitable form, if appropriate to do so. So you can copy exactly what you had here, but when you're looking at creating the new habit, it's not going to be related exactly to a holiday plan. The essence of this is, and the bit that I liked, is that I set personal targets to motivate me and give me a reward. The holiday being the reward. So let me reset this to be set a personal target with a reward to motivate me. Okay, so now this is broader. This can apply to a lot of things I do day to day. So I've discovered that setting a personal, so I've put in set a personal target with a reward to motivate me. So that is now what I'm going to try and embed as a natural part of my working life. I now need to choose two aspirations that I think will benefit from this particular one, and let's have a look. I'd like to make a difference. I would like to use my potential. I might tick that one. As I said before, I haven't actually completed these. These were set up as examples. So let's say that one. Once you've done that, just click the green arrow. We've now reviewed that action and actually set up, as you can see down here, a new habit. Set a personal target with a reward to motivate me. We will talk about this in a future video tutorial. Let's review the last action. This is create a list of all the ways to find a job. The barrier, I need to identify all ways of finding a job. I want to use this as an example of an action that we didn't carry out. Normally this would be an action that maybe stretched us a little bit, we weren't comfortable with, we avoided doing it, something that we didn't carry through. So I'm going to start this side. What was unsuccessful about this action? I did not create a list of ways to find a job. So straightforward. What was unsuccessful? I just didn't do it. Exactly what stopped this action being a success? I kept putting it off. Let's say, let's put a dash, say what it was. Creating a list of ways to find a job. You could put in there, I just don't like doing it. Doing lists, for instance. That's something that you can work on, because I'm seeing this as a barrier. I'm procrastinating, I'm putting it off. Now, we already said yes to a similar one to this, but I'm going to say yes to this as well, because I'm treating this in isolation. I have found a new barrier. The fact that both of these will come up at converting barriers, and you then convert them, the next stage being the reviewing of the barriers, you could see these as, with the other one as being duplicates, so you could take one of them off, or when you convert them, you may find you've worded it slightly differently, and in the end actually keep both. The fact that you'll be converting the barrier ensures that although you have put in here it's about creating a particular list of finding a job, when you convert it you may make it a more broader barrier. So we've ticked that. Let's go on this side. Let's see if we can think of anything that was successful about this. Well, let's just say I really want you to think it through because often there is something that can come out of this, something about yourself or whatever. But let's just imagine that there really isn't anything you can think of. And I would stress that you really should try first before just answering like this. But you could put it nothing if you want to. Exactly what did you do to get this success? Now, I'm going to put something in here that a bit of learning that came from it. So I'm not just going to say nothing or whatever. I'm going to put it was often on my mind that I should create a list of ways to find a job. So basically what I'm saying here is that there was some learning from this. I realised I was a little bit stressing out about it. It was always on my mind, it was uncomfortable and so on. So in this particular case it's purely a bit of learning, and that learning comes from the fact that you've had to articulate and type into Inspire an answer to this question. So although it isn't actually going to do any more, we're certainly not going to make this a new habit. I do not want this to be a new habit. It's a strong bit of learning. Once we've done that, click the button. And that's it. We've reviewed all three of our actions. Because we've reviewed all of them, the system has now sent a 360 feedback to your colleagues in the group. We'll be covering 360 feedback and group meetings where you get together once every week or so in the next tutorial. Thanks very much for watching. I'll see you soon.